Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of What Does It Take to Get the Right Shot? Today, we are going to talk about the shutter speed. What is the shutter speed and how does it work? Now, when we talk about the shutter speed, we used to talk about our subject. What am I talking about? Well, we said that the three major settings in our cameras are the ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. We also said in another video that the aperture, it's about the quantity of the light that the hole in our lens allows to get in. We also spoke in another video about the ISO, which is the sensibility of the light. Now at this point, the shutter speed is the amount of time that my shutter stays open. The more stays open, the more informations, which means light, it's coming through. The quicker my shutter is, the less light is coming through. Now, as usual, we are going to use one of my samples, one of my pictures as a sample, because I want to make sure that through the sample we can understand how the shutter speed works. At the beginning, I said that the shutter speed is pretty much how my subject is moving. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever said, oh, let me catch the moment? Well, if you said that at least once in your life, that means that you need to get quick to catch something that it's coming and it's happening right away. Now, for photography, it's exactly the same thing. So the quicker you are, the quicker your shutter is, the less light is coming in, and the more you will see the action still, because you catch the moment. Now, it's usually hard to understand how quick my car is moving, how fast my soccer player is running, or my tiger is running. Now, of course, even if we know that the car is driving 20 or 50 miles per hour, of course it's not the same for the numbers that we have in the camera. Now, shutter speed can go from low as 30 seconds to fast has 1/4,000 of a millisecond, or even a 1/8,000 of a second. Well, what does it mean? That the higher number I have, the quicker my shutter is. So 1/8,000, it's the quickest ever. So the shutter is so quick that pretty much no light is coming through. But because it's so quick, I got my subject very still. The lower my shutter is, which means lower numbers, which technically is longer time, well, the more information is coming through, the more light is coming through. Now, consider that if I go slower with my shutter, not only light is coming through, but any kind of information. So if my subject is moving in the 5, for example, second that I keep it open, well, it will be definitely not on focus. It will be not on focus and blurry. So I need to understand making mistakes and try again to understand and match how quick my subject is actually moving compared to the numbers that I have in my settings, shutter speed wise. Now the sample that you see here, you can see that it's a catcher, baseball catcher glove that is exploding because the baseball just hit 100 miles per hour in the glove. And because the glove was dirty, the dust and the dirt that was on the glove is exploding. Now, to see an explosion, we need, in a videography, we need a slow motion. Why? Because it's been so quick that if you don't slow your action, you're not even able to see it, which means that the action has been very quick. So to get something like this, I needed a very high shutter speed. We said before that sometimes the ISO has a priority, sometimes the shutter speed has a priority, sometimes the aperture has a priority. No matter what, even if one of the three has a priority, the other two will have to work together to create my picture. Because if I know that my shutter speed is very high, which means very quick, shutter very quick to open and close, I know that less information is coming in, which means less light, which means I will need the light from the other two settings. I will need the light from the aperture, talking about the hole, the quantity of the light that go through the hole in the lens, and at some point I will use the maximum that I can get, and if it's not enough, I will have to hire the ISO. So the quicker the shutter speed is, the higher the ISO will be, the lower my aperture will be. The first two, shutter speed and ISO, work together. The aperture work the opposite. When I hide the first two, I load the third one, and vice versa. So if I load the shutter speed and the ISO, I will hide the aperture to get my same result as a final picture. So for this one, I can tell you right away that to see the dust exploding, it's probably a 4,000, one of a 4,000th of a second shutter speed. Definitely no light pretty much at all. Definitely 2.8, probably 3.5, but let's say 2.8. So definitely not 100 ISO, even if it's sunny, but probably 200, 400, or even 800 ISO. So remember, sometimes our shutter speed is a priority because my subject is moving. So I need to understand how quick my subject is moving first. And I know that once I got the right shutter speed to steal the action, to catch the moment, well, then I cannot move and I cannot change that setting anymore. And I will have to play with the other two, aperture and ISO, to match them to create my final image, my final picture. So recap of the day is we spoke about the shutter speed. The shutter speed is how quick my shutters open and close in the camera, which means how quick my subject is, because depending on how quick my subject is moving, I will have to put this kind of setting in my shutter speed setting. Numbers go usually from 30 seconds to 1 over 4,000 or even 1 over 8,000, depending on the camera you have. The higher number, which means 1 over 4,000, 1 over 8,000, the quicker my shutter is, the less information, less light is coming in, which means, see the chart above, which means darker picture. The slower my shutter is, up to 30 seconds, the more light is coming in. Light means only that, not only that more information are coming in, but my subject is moving, it will be blurry. So depending on the subject, you will have to high or low your shutter speed. When we go lower than a certain number, we call it long exposure. See video below. Long exposure, you will need a tripod. So it always depends on the subject if you want to decide if you need a high or a low shutter speed. This is all for today. I hope it's been clear enough. We spoke about the shutter speed. My name is Simone. I'm a professional photographer. Thank you for being part of this video, and I see you soon.